My name is Manuva, and I'm an MC, producer, songwriter, sonic architect. I would not sound so independent. Definitely not, because of the emotional and financial strain. It's just too much work. The attack from media personnel is just too much for one individual to take. You really need a proper support and specialized support, because roles ain't clearly defined. So as an artist, I'm my own accountant, I'm my own wardrobe, I'm my own cleaner, and I'm doing everything. With the label, it's the same thing. Everyone has to muck in, and when there's too much chefs in the kitchen, the broth gets spoiled. Thought about setting up my own label for years and years, and dreamt about it since I was 20 years old. And I still want to do it, but the more I look into it, the more I get lost and get drawn away from the reason for me making music, because I like to make music. It's like finding the balance between splitting my head up from being a creative person into being a ruthless businessman. It's really hard, but I'm psyching myself up for it. I'm ready to ride my bike around with 12 inches on CDs and sell them face to face with the public, websites and all that stuff. But as and when, I don't know. I've got bills to pay.
But it seems that for some, this is a small price to pay for creative freedom.
For me, it's incredibly important.
My name is LP. I produce and I rap too.
I've always made records essentially exactly the way I wanted to make them. And that is something that is rare. It's something that you don't necessarily have the freedom to do in another situation. But that's why, for me, I've done it the way I have. I would never compare mainstream music and independent music and say that there's like a clear dichotomy in terms of creativity. I think that there's creativity. Artists are cats who make music are artists regardless. The only difference is that there's so much pressure, I think, for certain cats to make money in a major label situation, because frankly, if you only sell 200,000 records on a major label, you're pathetic.
Finance is an issue though.
Yo, what's going on? This is the Big D from Slaughterhouse Cartel / Ultramagnetic MCs, aka Gunhole. What's going on? It's like nowadays, more money is coming in independent now. I mean, the major labels, they offering you good deals like $1 million for 2 or 3 albums. But you look at it like this, independent, if you sell 100,000 records, that's $1 million off the back. You know what I mean? When you go platinum on a major label, the label make 10 million and they give you $1 million, and you don't even see the whole $1 million after they recoup everything that they done spent towards the video, your clothing, any of your rented jewelry, or the rented vehicles, or the rented houses, whatever that you use. And if you got a crew of 50 members and you dressing them up, they taking all that money back out. You paying them back for all that, so you're not gonna see all your money out of $1 million. After the end, you might be lucky, you might see 250,000.
The business angle has historically always proved to be the biggest mountain to climb for ambitious independents. You may have the rhymes and the beats, but can you raise the cash? And even more than that, are you up on your projected business forecasts and long-term revenue plans? Tricksta and Lee from Wolverhampton's Wolftown Records and publishers of Raggo magazine.
People out there, they don't really, just take it, wicked, they see the record in the shop, they spend the £5 and think, you know what I mean? But they don't quite realise how much work's involved from getting that record in the store to, like, even making it, man. I mean, when we was making the Villains album, we made 8 tracks, we couldn't even master them because we hadn't even got a DAT machine. Do you know what I'm saying? We've had some tough times, man. We haven't even been able to master the music. Never mind artwork and promotion, and the list is endless. It's endless, the things you can spend your money on.
We ain't come from no silver spoons. We've come from the gutter up, do you know what I mean? And everything is reinvesting. We take no money out for ourselves. Everything goes back into it, do you know what I mean? This shit's making us ill. We don't even eat. We're out every day doing something, do you know what I mean? But that's what you've got to do to make it work.
Joe Braintax, owner of Low Life Records, recording artist Braintax. Fingers in many pies. The initial funding was me and the 3 guys that I set up the label with. We just saved up. After that, it was Prince's Trust loan, and then after that, it was just all the money that I earned by doing record pressing, which is a kind of sideline to the label for me now. Just running a manufacturing business. We've gone back into a lost situation because we've tried to step up our business a bit more in the last year and started to put more money into promotions. So we're in a kind of breaking even or making enough money for one person to get by, and now we've gone back into a loss situation. It's a long-term plan. You have to have a long-term plan with a record label. You can't just expect to make some money in a year. If you really want to be there in a few years' time, you have to keep putting money into it, raise your profile all the time.
My name is Amici Uzigwe. I am co-owner of Definitive Jux Records. Doesn't matter who you are. If you walk in and you speak to the head of a distribution company or head of a major record label, if you know what the hell you're talking about, it gets you a long way. You know, if you're just someone who may work with some great artists but just talks a lot of mess, you're not going to get very far. And even if you get in the door, you're going to get manipulated, and you know, at the end of the day, you're going to be left holding the baby. I had the benefit of a great education. I know how to read well. You know what I mean? It's simple things like that that sometimes get lost. And I know how to write. You know, and you'd be surprised how many people are horrible writers. I can write a memo. I can write a contract. And again, it's a thrill to me to take an artist who has nothing, bring them through, get them to a point where somebody wants to put out the record or invest in them. To me, that is a great, great turn on. And being able to go in, whether it's Warp or Columbia or whoever it is, and sit down across the table with the owner of that or the president of that label and have him respect what I'm talking about. Because I've put in the work, you know, I've learned. I don't know everything, and I'm certainly not a baller in that sense, but that's not my aspiration. My aspiration is to be great in my role of what I do.
But costs are coming down, and it seems there are more tracks available now than ever before. None more so than in New York.
This is DJ Clips. It's good and it's bad. I mean, it's more widespread, but at the same time, since you have so many different sets now, it's taking away from the overall sales of individual releases that come out. So whereas maybe 4 or 5 years ago, a group would have put out a 12-inch that might have sold 10,000, nowadays that same group can put out a 12-inch and it will probably sell about half that if they're lucky. So the overall market is bigger, but there's too much stuff out there, and there's also a lot of crap that's being thrown out there, and I think there's not enough quality control in the independent scene.
Sunspot Jones from Mystic Journeyman, also part of the whole Living Legends crew. From the West Coast, California in the house, baby boy, in the house. When you're underground or you're independent, you don't have to make those decisions. You're just always kind of making songs, you know what I'm saying? So it's not even a quality control because it comes down to this is what you're feeling and you're doing, you know what I mean? And this is all you got to sell because this is you. Where when you sign to a company, you kind of have to conform to the system of the industry, you know what I mean? If you're underground, you're just always making songs. You're always putting shit out to a certain point where it's ready to go.
Chris Atlas, Cornerstone Promotion, VP of Urban Marketing and Promotion. In order to be heard, I think that the artists and the producers realize that they have to make this music as best as possible to even be considered, to even have a shot at breaking and being heard, you know? And plus, I think consumers are so demanding right now because there's so many different types of music out there. There's so many outlets for music, you know, that if I'm gonna, you know, purchase your CD or if I'm gonna see you do a show, you really have to give me something that's worth my money, or you have to give me a show that's worth my time. You can't expect to, you know, spit a half-assed verse and think that the consumers that hear it are gonna think it's the next best thing, you know? It's not like that anymore.
My name is Gita Snyder. I am the publisher of Mugshot Magazine. I feel like the bedroom scene, the bedroom hip-hop artist actually pushes the value of good hip-hop up, because just like with paintings or with any sort of art form, the more that's out there, the more likely you are to have to strive harder to make yourself heard. And if you're striving harder, your work is going to have more quality to it, you know. It gives people an outlet. If people are creating, then they're more likely to go out and hear other people creating or buy somebody else's CD to get sort of that feedback and see what else is going on out there. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's really not going to, I don't think it's detrimental for the market at all.